and then you see, just read, guys. Seriously.
Well, that is a whole other show of just read. Okay? Fake it to makers don't know how to read. Okay? Oh, and I know I'm hurting somebody there right now. I'm a fake it to maker and I read. Yeah. The internet. When was the last time you picked up a book and finished it? Not read a page or two on the toilet.
You know, I get some of my best reading done on the toilet.
I have too. I also have done some of my best thinking there too.
Can you imagine? Then there is the I'm going to target the women's groups next. Now, a lot of people have come at me because why are you targeting women, right? Do you have a misogynistic streak? No, I don't. I don't
David,
have.
let's give them a little context. We have not a lot of new listeners here. So over the many years, I myself has publicly stated that so many people try to start women's groups and they end up isolating everything and making these beat up the men groups or paid friendship groups. Now, when David came along and he saw me actually talking this on air, he added a variety of other subject matters to the intensity of how these women's groups were taking over and so many people were trying to monetize all aspects of them, that it was hurting the greater part of the industry because there were no men's groups. They never got anywhere near successful because the amount of women that are in the genre, it's in genre itself. So David, add your 2 cents there.
You see, I'm going to have to go back to the whole, you got to know what it is that you're bringing to the world first. A lot of these women's groups leaders claim to be feminists, never picked up a book on feminism yet. So they just throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks.
Right.
And they mix the spirituality into it, right? And they're like, let's run naked through the forest because we are free. It's a bunch of shit. Come on. The running naked through the forest bit, there's a specific reason why that was done back in the day. Okay, all right, for those of you who are witches inside this chat, you all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
The ones that go to the next level that are forever fucking farting moonstones, and they have new inserts, things called glitter glands, spraying glitter everywhere they go, and people are like, "Stop spraying glitter on me." Oh, you'll be fine. No, they're fuck you, screwing my free will over. Stop glittering me, bitch.
Yeah, spiritual Karens.
Spiritual Karens.
That's exactly, thanks, Alan. Spiritual Karens. Look, it's not a matter of misogyny. It's not a matter of this. You have of judgment. You have to look at things objectively. And just because it may not be popular for me to say this, does not make me wrong or inaccurate. And that's the problem that a lot of people have. You can't actually have a discussion anymore. Everybody's just about shouting over each other. So they say, you're judging me, but you're judging me for having an opinion.
Well, so where does that end? They're judging you for having a counter opinion.
There we go.
Let's be specific. Anything counter to their opinion, which makes them zealots and martyrs for their own cause, people stuck in charge and polarity, and which highly spiritual people should avoid like the plague. But there are just times where living in this world, you have to look at the other side and not allow it to affect you and stand in conviction and faith and go fake it to make it.
I'm going to be plain, blunt, and honest. I went to a convention for a coaching community up in British Columbia. That was a couple of years ago. There was a lady there who stated categorically that she has a problem with men. She has a problem with men. She doesn't like men. She holds women's groups. Okay, fine. Not a problem. So, up until this point, this is not a problem, Andrew. So I had to ask her, so what do you do? Right? Because I'm not going to be dragged into whether you like men. So it came out that the woman is a sex coach. She counsels couples. Like what? I'm going to guess that your coaching is not really effective, first of all, and you're actually harming people because of your bias. Why are you doing that?
But David, I'm not harming anyone. You're the one harming them by simply going against the might of who I am.
The might of who you are. Okay. You know what? Here's the thing about esoterics, okay? Um, this is what I use as my baseline, and I want to tell you guys this. This is what I use as my baseline. If your esoterics is not making you smarter, wiser, bigger, faster, stronger, able to endure more, then you're doing it wrong.
But David, I'm making all this money on the side. I've already sold my soul. Okay? They're the ones making the money off of your ignorance. Fake it to make it, people.
Yes, and it harms people, and that's my main problem. Because if you're into esoterics and so on, forget about whether you're precognitive, whether you're an empath, whether you're psychic, whether you have all those really fancy abilities, you're a healer, whatever else. You know what? You got to start with being a decent person first.
That's right.
You got to start with that. Let's start with the foundation.
Being decent to yourself and knowing when enough is enough.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people out there who are in the esoteric community presenting themselves as esoteric people that are not decent people. They're right. Not good people. Okay? These are the kind of people that will actually help an old woman across the street and then tell her, well, the divine God wanted me to help you across the street. Can I have $5? Because, you know, this is the kind of thing. Because I just helped you. And there's a reciprocity. I have heard a lot of argumentation from so-called spiritual people that make no sense. There was, I'm going to give you an example, like you teaching people ethics, you teaching people morals and stuff like that, okay? And you're saying to people that a white lie is okay. So I'm going to give you the scenario. Actually, I'm going to drop it to your audience right now. I'm going to give you a scenario, and you guys tell me, what would you do? We're playing the game, what would you do? So I'm going to give you a bunch of moral problems. Let's just run 3 scenarios. Your mother is going out on a date. It could be with your father, it doesn't matter what. She has bought a dress that is 6 sizes too small for her, but she squeezed into it. Okay? Mm-hmm. James, really?
That's like packing some cheese into some fish netting.
All right. So your mother is, yes. So 6 sizes too small. She comes out, she spins around in front of you, and she says to you, well, how do I look? You know she's going to be out in public at the local restaurant. What do you do? Go.
In my mind, you look well preserved. Okay. At that point, are you going to be truthful or not? Knowing full well that there will be multiple days of attacks back on you. Not days.
Would you say, Mom, I think you actually need to change that dress. It might be a bit too small for you, and you know that it might hurt your feelings? Or would you tell her, oh, you look great, please go out?
Exactly. All the girls have great deflection lines. The dress is beautiful, but there's another one that looks better for you.
What do you do?
Mom, I really love that blue dress of yours, but I don't know about this one. Okay? They got all the excuses right there.
Scenario number 2. Okay? The best scenario, the best answer is to try to find a middle line. Aurea mediocritas, walk the middle path. Okay? That is the best. You're not going to be vicious with your mother. But at the same time, you're not going to let your mother go out there and be ridiculed by other people that you know she's going to be ridiculed by other people. Come on, guys. Right? Scenario number 2.
You look like a Chorizo. Chorizo, sorry.
Scenario number 2. Your kid wants to pick up a sport. It doesn't matter what the sport is. Right? Your kid wants to pick up a sport. It might be baseball. You throw a ball at him, hits him in the nose. On the 10th attempt, the nose is beginning to swell up because your kid can catch for shit. Okay? What do you do? Do you encourage him or what do you say? Let's hear it.
You put a face mask on him and throw harder. From survival of the fittest. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Toughness. That exactly.
Let's hear it.
Make a musical instrument more important for him.
Probably not the drums, I would think. If the kid likes it, continue. Are we building S&M people here, really? You building S&M kids? I like the ball to the face. No, really. Okay, so once again, middle path actually wins. You gotta find a way to win that kid because he's gonna step into that field and he's gonna get hit in the nose with somebody that's really aiming for that nose, right?
That's why we give him the catcher's mask. You've earned the catcher's position. If you don't want balls hitting you in the face anymore, don't be a catcher.
Scenario number 3, that is your spouse. You and your spouse go on vacation. You and your spouse go on vacation. These are the spiritual people. So I'm giving you all moral tests, right? Because before you can be spiritual, once again, you got to be a decent person first. So moral test number 3, you and your spouse go on vacation. Y'all are going to chill out by the pool. Once again, your spouse thinks she looks sexy or your man thinks he looks really sexy in that Speedos. The actual truth of the matter is he looked sexy 20 years ago, but the stomach is now hitting the ground, and she looked sexy 20 years ago, but she now has a muffin top. You know that if you say anything, it's going to hurt their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And it might actually have repercussions for you long, all the way down for the rest of the vacation. Let's hear it. How do you handle that scenario?
Lie. There you go. Live on camera. Got him to spit his drink out.
How do you handle that scenario? Guys, you got to ask yourself these kinds of questions. Because it's one thing to say that I stand for truth and justice and the universal way. It's another thing when you're actually in the actual situation where you actually have to demonstrate it. Okay? Because if you stand for truth and justice and you're just one of these purists, then you're going to be that guy who goes on vacation and blows it up. Okay? How are you going to navigate this? This is a navigation issue. You don't want to lie, but you don't want to tell the truth either.
So the answer is they do want to lie. If they don't want to tell the truth, they have to lie.
Because the truth of the matter, 90% of the people who are answering right now, you guys would evade that topic. Y'all would find a way to evade it. Is that correct or no?
You middle ground that shit all the way through.
You guys would find a way to evade it.
Exactly.
Right? You would find a way to evade it because nobody wants to hear things that they don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So why are the spiritual Karens compulsed to say it all the time? All to tell everyone else is their garbage, even though it has no truth behind it.
I think it has to do with showing off. Because let's face it, a lot of the spiritual Karens, you were soccer mom on Thursday, but on Sunday you became Guru Nanak. Okay? So we know that this is a process because you took a weekend course. Okay? But when you take the weekend course, you are suffering from something called imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome means that I must shout louder than anybody else in the room so that people can't see my fakeness. And that's what it is. When you have somebody who's just loud like that, it's because they cannot stand for people to see the emptiness that lies inside. There's a saying that goes, empty vessels make the most noise. I showed you this thing about like the lady who calls herself an alpha goddess.
Yes.
The only thing that ran through my mind when I saw it, alpha goddess. So I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean you're the goddess that eats other goddesses? Or does that mean that you're the first? And then Andrew, jump in here.
I would rather be the Omega goddess.
Yes, right. I don't understand the way people think. So,
but that was all, David. All that stuff was fake clickbait stuff for this person to put on their website. All of that was
Andrew.
pure
she really is. She really is into that shit, huh? She really is into that stuff.
There are no cited references of the names of these schools that physically exist, David.
I know, but trust
me,
they're
not schools.
They just, as I said, they just throw shit at the wall. They throw shit at the wall and they hope it sticks. And here's the thing.
By the special artist, Chinese artist named Hu Flung Pu.
Hu Flung Pu.
Yeah. Great artist. Does a lot of controversial subjects.
And the problem with me is that my mind tries to make sense. So Alpha Goddess, let me see, is she coming from a Greek perspective? Because there's a lot of violence among the gods in Greek mythology. There's a lot of violence, there's rape. You're Greek, right?
I know, I've heard the stories.
We gotta look at you sideways. Like you got rape, you got incest, you got like, what the hell? You got rape, you got incest, you got violence, you got people cutting people's heads off.
Patricide and fratricide, yes. Yes, we got all of it.
And then you have Zeus raping half the continent.
Yes, going around raping as different bestial things.
Right, turning bestiality. I forgot bestiality is in there as well.
That's Zeus was the head of that.
You know what? This is the one of the reasons.
He rammed a lot of women as a ram.
Who looks at a golden ram and says, "Oh, you look kind of hot. I think we should have a baby together." Who the hell does that?
Come over here, baby.
Like, they had a lot of fun back in the day, clearly. No, but anyway.
Man, you give great fur jobs.
Yeah. There are a lot of weird things coming out of Greek mythology, like the Maenads, for instance. They basically partied to death.
Yes.
Right? The revelers, they partied to death. Followers of Dionysus. So they partied so much, they basically ripped each other apart. Crazy shit. But hey, that's back in the day. But we're still on the fake it to make it us. Okay?
Yep.
The spiritual Karens need to take a break. They've taken over everything, and that has been a problem because there's no space left for the people who actually want to come out and help people with some kind of humility. Okay? That graphic that Robert just showed, a lot of these people are putting these graphics out there. You want to demonstrate yourself as free. I'm going to give y'all some truth bombs here. Okay? I'm going to give y'all some truth bombs. The first truth bomb I'm going to give y'all is this. If it is that you are a free and independent woman using your husband's money to promote the fact that you're a free and independent woman, there is irony there. That's a truth bomb. Sorry, I'm not going to take that back. Okay?
You don't need to take it back, David. It's a truth bomb. It's having its own spiritual effects and energetic shrapnel spreading through the audience that is ready to see it, and not fake it to make it. Unfortunately and fortunately, sometimes we as teachers can make fragmentation grenade positive learning experience things where we just shotgun a whole bunch of shit out there. We call it light worker salad, and it's what heals you today. It is no different than astrology, a roll of the dice, a flick of the paper, or, and in this particular sense, whatever you believe in the moment is coming at you.
Why is there no more discussion? Why is there no more debate? It used to be that you and I have a disagreement, you say your side, I say my side, but both of us are trying to learn
But
something.
that hasn't been true since the early 1900s, and by the end of the two world wars, that entire debate culture was
Now it's
destroyed.
just
And the group, the guys that came back, and the ones that took over in the post-war generation, they didn't have the same debate culture. It was radically different. A whole different version of debate was done, where it was argumentative debate.
But here is the thing, Andrew. This was not supposed to have seeped into the esoteric community.
I agree.
This aberrant form of communication
But
was not supposed to have seeped into the esoteric. You're supposed to be able to learn from other people.
But fortunately, product marketing, books, magazines, the influx of corporate world realizing there was money to be made there. Okay, creating products for it, negative and positive products. Exactly. It's now attracted. It's what I call the spiritual bell curve. The head of the bell curve, you're attracting what you're spiritually contracted, and afterwards, it's because it's on the common monkey mind. And just like the 100th monkey theory, you're gonna get your time in the zone, where all the monkeys are working together.
We used to, when I was younger, we had different esoteric communities. We had the yoga community, we have the ekists, we had the brotherhoods, and so on. My way of seeing the esoteric community, if we had it was a brotherhood. It was a brotherhood, and I don't think I'm losing my mind here. There was a brotherhood or sisterhood, as the case may be, right? But now what we have is this kind of corporate spirituality. That's what it is.
No, and so it's consumer-based faith.
Consumer-based faith. We were not supposed to be the new religion. We were not supposed to be the new religion.
Correct. Not to mention, not a consumer-based religion either. Okay? Right. And you got to understand the nature of what consumer-based religions are. Okay, you're there to consume material at your pace and never to grow beyond it.
I'm going to take a swipe at the men, the esoteric men as well. And if you guys are in here and I offend you, you're in the wrong place. There has been an absence of male leadership in the spiritual community for a long, long time. What a bunch of men ran out of the spiritual community. It became really bad after 2008. It really did. Because what happened was that there was the realities of having to live in a shared reality hit them, and they gave in. They just gave in. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that. They ran out of, so what you have is a spiritual community that is almost 80 to 90% women. Where have the men gone? I'm not talking about the weekend man bun warriors. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the men who dedicated their life to this esoteric practice. Where have they gone? I'm gonna have to call them out here, and I hope that they're listening to this broadcast. There's an absence of male leadership. There's an absence of a male presence in the esoteric community. And that is, tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong in the chat, because in this chat alone, if we had to take a census of the men versus the women in this chat, it would be obvious. Okay, and here's the thing: the men that stayed in made things really bad for the rest of the men in the spiritual community. How many scandals have we had in the spiritual community? Satyananda, the guy from
countless amounts of them,
right? Mm-hmm. How many of the scandals? Where have all the good men gone? Correct. Where have all the good men gone?
They went to MTV and Pornhub.
Can you imagine a spiritual porn? Never mind.
So, David, we have a bunch of people that already have raised their hand.
Yep.
Robert, be on a lookout for Bruce. Bruce will be joining us in a little bit, going further into our in-depth. Now, if you have raised your hand, and are one of those people that want to raise your hand, the only place that you could raise your hand to actually talk to me and David, and to have a full roasting put on you, because if you have your hand up now, you are pre-agreeing to the terms of service of a roast at the highest levels, where you will come out blackened and charred, and burnt fat will be rapidly removed from your spiritual flesh. Now that that warning has been given forward, we want to reach into some of the other chicken poopy shitty heads that we have in this audience. That's right, I just called you chicken poopy shitty heads. Okay? So what else do I got to do to get some of you that have been here for the longest of times? Okay? Just sitting in the background. Oh, I'm a spiritual Karen in the background. We want your spiritual Karens to call in. We are the two managers here to talk to you.
Guys, feel free to challenge us. We are open for debate. If we have said something that you think is wrong, you please feel free to challenge us. We are open for debate. It's just say how you feel.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of Karens. I'm kidding. The wheel of callers, and see who wants to have a conversation with us about Fake It to Make It.
Patricia Lucia.
Patricia Lucia, are you there?
Oh, damn it.
Yes, you are there. You are the next.
Damn it. I was like, no, don't pick me first. Don't pick me first. I'm a chicken shit.
They're chicken shit that has been called out.
I'm a chicken.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Florida, Andrew. Nice to talk to you, I think.
So how chicken shit are you?
Well,
tell us the biggest thing you're avoiding in your life.
Oh, yeah. Well, David, you probably know.
Oh, Patty, will you let that drop?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to let it drop. So I had it's really interesting because I had an interesting conversation that was facilitated by David this week with another person who I'm connected to through Survive and Thrive. And she is she's many things. And the whole purpose of the conversation was to be on my podcast. I do Story Bridge. I realized in the conversation that I have a lot of work to do in opening up sexually. You know, like I think sex and sexuality is big. And you know, Andrew, you and I did a reading about a year ago, and you gave me a whole list of homework things, and I did. You know, and I've come a ways, you know, like I'm not really a hermit anymore. I'm out, I've dated, you know, I've had sex, you know, so I've done all of that, but not a relationship. And just in that conversation, I realized that there is, David.
I'm waiting. I gotta wait.
There is so much more for me to do, and it's kind of this important part of my emotional, like my overall. I've been doing the self-nurturing, self-healing, self-love, all of, you know, I've been doing a lot of that, but that is an area I think that I think that that's the area that I'm the most chicken shit about. Yeah, I would say. Because if I wasn't, I'd be doing more, honestly. So
what's stopping you from self-exploration? Is there some dogma of shame, blame, or guilt about masturbation?
Robert, are you there?
I'm here.
Can you cue the Jeopardy theme song, please?
Oh, no. Oh, God. All right. So, but back to your question, Andrew. I'm going to try to stay focused here and ignore the Jeopardy. You know, so I am, you know, I'm a woman who falls in love with women. I do have relationships with men. No, I wouldn't call them relationships, but mostly hookups. Because I get gun shy with women. They're the ones who I get my heart broken. But I think I was also raised Catholic, and I think that I have often thought, and this is one of the things that I was sharing in the conversation the other day and the other evening, is that in my next relationship, I would like to explore many areas that I have not explored in a relationship, without the shame, without the judgment. That I'm hoping
you
that I
realize
can.
you're still avoiding the actual question.
Yeah, I am.
Oh,
So because the
I'm
question,
Okay?
right? Because the question was about masturbation.
Yes.
Um,
And you're making it all about a relationship.
I am making it all about a relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think that
You're still avoiding. I need you to get off of your Fox News channel.
okay.
Your internal Fox News propaganda is running too loud right now.
Okay. All right, I got you.
Switch channels. Go to CNN for a little bit.
Oh
right?
God. Okay.
It's about masturbation. And you're blushing right now.
Yeah, I totally am. So
Andrew, would you like me
whatever.
to assist her?
It's.
This is a roast.
I
Let
know.
me cook her a little longer.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
gotta get
no,
a
okay.
little fat.
You're
We gotta get a little
sauteing.
fat to
Yeah,
got
little
fat to
saute.
drop off of you.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Gotta brown you up.
Okay, so I will say that one of the things that has gone on for me in recent years has been because I'm menopausal, postmenopausal. There hasn't been as much pleasure in it. Like I used to be able to, I could make myself come in like 30 seconds. Like they used to, that was so.
So hold on. Do you wear a red bag of courage? I'm the 30-second cum club.
No.
Okay, a 30-second orgasm is not something to be proud of.
Okay.
But you have idolized it and made it that. And there's something about lessening your pleasure journey here.
Uh-huh. All right. Ooh, got me good.
So
got me good, Andrew.
Miss 30-second can't finger herself to enjoyment anymore because you haven't had a 30-second finger adjustment in 30 years.
Well, I wouldn't say 30, but
okay, 28.
Oh, come on, man.
Okay. I'm roasting here, all right?
Maybe 10.
12.
Oh, come on.
Longer than that.
Yeah, so even that which I kind of held as wow, that was when it was good or something, it wasn't really that good.
Let me really help you, Brown.
I appreciate it.
There's an ongoing part of you that's determining, does bisexuality fit you or not? And you've got a lot of counter-running programs about bisexuality in general, which is stealing a good portion of all of the energy from all of your other choices, potential and potentialities.
Yeah, I've gotten kind of fucked up about it. Yeah.
To the point where it's now disabling some of your greater choices. It means you can go no further until you solve this, and will only get progressively and exponentially worse the longer you wait.
Yeah. Okay. So I agree wholeheartedly with that. And so I've had this program going in my head that, and it's like the story, so here I am, somebody who teaches people about the power of story, and our stories often limit us. Are they going to limit us? Or are they going to empower us? And here I am limiting, discovering more and more stories that I say that are limiting. So here it is. So a story about, women break my heart, and men, I don't get emotionally attached to, but then I get bored after a while. And that's literally the story that I tell. Now, I will say I've never been,
I think you should write a story about a male gigolo that falls in love. And you have to be the author in the male sexual energy position, writing the character ideas and concepts to move a story forward, even if it's 8 or 12 pages.
So in the story, it's in first person. I am the male gigolo, and I never,
which is a prostitute, no different, right? And male prostitute, and falls in love with a client.
Okay.
Andrew, can I
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
step in here? Oh, I've been waiting. Oh my God, I've been waiting.
I left you a wide open door, David. Here you go. You
Wow.
can drive a 747 through this one.
Jesus.
So hi, Patty, you good?
Hey, David, I'm good.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's hear
Okay.
it.
Okay. So I connected you with an individual earlier this week, didn't I?
Yes.
Oh, did
It
you
was
think
awesome.
did you think it was accidental that I connected you with this individual? Good.
Wow.
That individual has a story to tell that mirrors your story. That individual is the best person for you. Okay? Because it shows you are a storyteller. Here's the thing here's the dark side of storytelling. When the story you start telling to yourself is fiction, you're gonna have a problem.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna have a problem. So let's start from the beginning. Are you comfortable with your sexuality?
I would love to say yes to that question, David.
But reality is not relevant.
No, I don't think that I've settled it. I don't think it's been settled.
Okay. Patty, do you like sex?
Yes, I do.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being oh my God, and 1 being meh, tell me, where are you?
I would say 7.
Patty, when was the last time you thought about sex?
Oh, fuck you, David.
That little evil laugh there.
All right.
Cute evil laugh.
Maybe.
When was it?
Okay, maybe yesterday.
At what time?
In the morning.
Oh, okay. What did you do about it since it's in the morning?
Nothing. I just kind of thought about someone, and that was it. Yeah. Moved along with my day.
And it was just a fleeting love.
Yeah.
Patty?
Something to feed the empath in you.
Patty,
that's called eating your own louche.
Patty, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do.
All right.
Are you familiar with vulgarity of any kind? Are you okay with it? Are you comfortable with carnality?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah. The vulgarity? You mean like pussy, cock, dick, fuck?
Yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. Yo, what about it?
The last time you had sex, did you shout any of these words out into the air?
No.
Are you one of those silent types?
It was all love and light, glitter glandy.
I wasn't all love and light, glitter glandy dick. Come on. No, because it was actually one of the things that I realized or I learned with having more sex with men was that I could unleash some of that. So I found myself being more verbal with men than I would be with women.
Why?
But you never got on the saddle and rode.
Why?
What do you mean I didn't get on the saddle and ride? I did.
Make it an equal experience between you and men.
Oh, okay.
There was no
what is this
sporting competition between you.
Patty, what is this discrimination stuff? Why is it different from men to women, Patty?
Why? Because I think that with men, I don't care as much about how I look. Like I'm not invested in that. Whereas with women, I'm more careful. I edit. I care about what they think about every bit of me. With men, I don't.
Why?
Because I already have it in my head that I'm not going to fall in love with you. This is for fun. So we're just having an experience. With men, with women, it's more invested. It's more, about emotions, desire, possible, relationship, wanting to be approved of, wanting to be seen in a particular way by a partner,
I see.
wanting to be approved of, and whatever. It's
So you get your emotional fixes from women,
mhm.
but you get just experiential stuff from men, correct?
Yeah, that would be accurate.
Okay, so here's the problem that you're going to have right off the bat. I'm going to tell you. It's kind of sex is better when you are emotionally invested, yes or no?
Yes.
Good. That's for you, right?
Well, that's my
so
story.
question, with all these things running through your head when you're with a woman, how much pleasure do you get out of being with a woman?
It's been it's been a long time.
When was the last time you had an orgasm with a woman?
Uh, 2012.
2012. Oh, okay. So you're just the giver then. You just give pleasure. You don't receive it.
Yeah, that would, you in a relationship with a woman?
If you, yeah, are you the one who gives and does not receive?
Often.
Okay, Patty. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work on you. Number one, you're going to have to start that masturbation.
Hey, David, we got to move on to another caller. We've been already going 20 minutes. We've got several other people that want to call also.
All right.
Sure, no problem. I'm just going to give you one little thing to say. Patty, every day for this week, you need to masturbate.
All right.
Homework. Next caller.
Yes, and enthusiastic. You need some enthusiastic effort behind that energy.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Takes a lot. All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of roasties and roasters and see who's next.
Jesse Reiger, signal to unmute.
Jesse Reiger, are you there?
Hi, how you doing?
Great. Where are you calling from?
Alberta, Canada.
Welcome to the show. Are you ready for a roasting? What did you want to get roasted about? Are you a fake it to make it person?
Don't even want to fake it, I guess.
So what aren't you fake?
So I had a serious. Well, I pulled in on a serious kind of question I had for you guys, but I know you want to roast me up, so I could qualify as one of those spiritualists who doesn't want to stand up and take any of that male pressure.
Why don't you want to take any of the male pressure?
Geez. Being a male in the spiritual community seems like I don't know, it's like being around a bunch of lesbians that hate straight people.
Bunch of women telling their pussy whipped men how to do things.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't mind standing up for myself, but I'm a pretty nice guy. But it's pretty easy to get run right over, the way things are these days, right?
Especially with these modern cultures, absolutely. We're not picking one religion apart. They all got their crap cultures that are inside them. Every one of them does. Okay.
Jesse, I'm going to say something.
And everybody in the community knows everything about everything.
Right.
Jesse, that shouldn't stop you from actually being part of the spiritual community. You want to know something? There are 80% of women in the spiritual community, 80 to 90%. The 10% of men have run out. Okay? If you can't get along with the women that are around you, there are at least 79%. Let's say the 1% that are in Alberta. There are 79% of women that actually would appreciate somebody like you without the male pressure. Pressure depends on who you're dealing with. Now, Andrew and I have run into a bunch of women in the spiritual communities. We had to do business with them, not run into them. That came out so badly. You see, Andrew, everything comes out badly when I say it, right? But we've had to do business with them, and we know what you're talking about. But Jesse, you just gotta do what you gotta do, right? That shouldn't actually make a difference to whether you're in the spiritual community or not, right? Andrew and I wanted to set up a dating site for spiritual people who are into this long term. We did, right? But then when I think about it, you're gonna have like what, 10 men inside that dating site, right?
Yeah. If you have a spiritual relationship, look out though too, right? Because there's nothing worse than a spiritual argument with your wife.
That's right.
That's right.
A spiritual take the trash out argument. Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta watch both.
Yeah, especially when you're like, hey wife, you've been overworked for a little while. I think it's time for you to take some time off. What? You're telling me to not work, you don't want me to work, and convert it right away to turning a negative on somebody. I experience that all the time in private sessions.
Yep.
Where the man is trying to encourage them to self-heal and self-nurture. They turn it right on them.
Yep.
Okay.
The same poisonous discourse that I'm talking about early on in the show. You gotta be able to come to some kind of common ground. You absolutely do.
That's right.
Okay. But everybody just wants to win.
I don't think common ground is the problem.
Tell me.
I think so I find it easy for myself to come to common ground, but I find it hard I don't see other people meeting on that ground though.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that's exactly what I said. People are very polarized. First of all, that there's a poison inside the discourse, inside the spiritual communities. So Jesse, you and I may not agree on something, but if I listen to you, I can learn something from you. How many of you in this chat, we're taking a poll, how many of you in this chat, when you approach somebody you disagree with, approach the argument, and I'm talking to the women and the men, approach the argument from the point of view of I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Let me listen. How many of you do that? Let's hear it. Notice that
David, I can't be wrong if I'm never wrong.
That drives me insane. Like, stop saying. You know that drives me insane, right? Right. How many of you approach an argument from the point of fallibilism? Fallibilism is that I may be flawed. The way that I think may be flawed. You guys, be honest. Be honest.
Mm-hmm. Especially be honest when you're putting people in situations where they have to judge you immediately. Like, does my ass look fat in this dress?
Right.
Okay.
Here is the thing. You want to practice spirituality, right? But you don't want to start from the point of view that you may be wrong. That's a problem. That's a problem. I argue with myself every day. You should see it, really. The guys in white jackets need to take me away. I argue with myself from my point of view that I have to keep looking at my own bullshit. I have to keep looking at my own bullshit. You guys have to keep looking at your own bullshit. If you are spiritually, if you're leaning to a spiritual enlightenment, you must start from the position, it doesn't matter whatever practice you're in, from the position that everything that I believe in is bullshit. Okay? And somebody needs to call me out on it. That's why we're having this roasting, because we can call you out on your bullshit any day. So I'm going to tell you guys that if you are starting from the position that you are right, your cup is already full. There's no water that can go into that cup anymore. And you all know these concepts.
Without it spilling all over yourself.
So Jesse, when you are dealing with somebody whose cup is full, save your breath, my brother. Save your breath.
Mm-hmm.
No point if you're still listening. He's off the call right now, right? Jesse, you there?
No, he's there. He's there. He's just muted.
Right.
He's got to unmute.
If you are dealing with somebody whose cup is full, save your breath. There's nothing else that will go in there. Right? There's a lot
Yeah,
of
no, you're right. Even in my small practice, it's primarily women, right? That I actually have never really even, it might be the demographics I'm in, but there's not too many spiritual males out there. I mean, there's religious people, but definitely not too many people outside of the box. So to participate here, and it's even the stereotypes of the spiritual male, right? It really needs to be redefined these days. And I thank you guys, because you've helped me in many ways. And I love your no bullshit approaches. It really helps me clear my cup, per se. But yeah, I really appreciate all the advice that you guys give. I have a personal question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Well, I'm dealing with young children these days. I have a couple of foster children that I'm dealing with, and they've got the night terrors. So they'll be up all night sometimes, and they can't sleep, and they always got these really bad dreams. And I know that there was things that happened, but it almost feels like I remember you had a video not too long ago where you guys talked about them implanting fear while they're young. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it becomes a habit pattern that goes into the sympathetic, parasympathetic. Yeah.
What kind of tools and things might I use to help protect them?
So each one has to come on an individual basis. So what are their ages?
1 and 2. The 2-year-old's going to be 3 soon.
They're still infants then. Do they have any other medical issues? Do they have any other medical issues with them, assigned with them?
Well, there's drug abuse with the parents, but all the tests and everything so far are coming up pretty good. They're pretty healthy.
Okay. And do you know that this is a temporary assignment for you, or is this temporary to permanent with these children?
Temporary to permanent. Looks pretty permanent.
Okay. Go ahead, David.
Oh, really? A good man and a spiritual man. Ladies in the chat, are you listening to this man? Are y'all listening? Good. First of all, thank you for that. At that infant stage, and they're having night terrors, that is a transference more often than not, probably picked up from mom, or they're coming in with they're coming into life with that ailment. Now there may be things that may have happened during pregnancy that would have actually initiated the night terrors. Okay, so do you know who the biological parents are?
Yes.
What kind of lives are we talking about? We're talking about clean lives. We're talking about halfway clean lives. We're talking about tumultuous. What are we talking about?
Yeah, mischievous, drug abuse.
Oh, well, there's not too much mystery there, right? Were they taking drugs while they were pregnant?
It's a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah. So here is the thing that a lot of people don't get. When you are connected with another human being, in that way, another human being is growing inside of you. All your shit that human being is going to be exposed to, okay? And when the children are born, they come in disadvantaged. They do, right? They have their own shit to deal with, but then they have the mother shit as well to deal with. So when you, and it's not just, biological, okay? Because yes, there would be an element of poison in developing brain, because you see the nervous system is the first thing that is being created in the womb, right? The heart, nervous system, brain, and these are the things that are being created. So when you poison it from start, that child is at a massive disadvantage, okay? So the child comes into the world traumatized. You understand that, Jesse?
I also
yes.
I highly recommend you go find somebody that's a cranial sacral for infants practitioner.
Yep, correct.
Okay, so you will literally watch the energy of the mothers come out of the child, and the child go into rest states, heavy duty rest states. All of those children, because what cranial sacral for infants does, oftentimes a baby grows faster than its body can prepare for, and it's in continuous pain during growth, combined with the mental and emotional issues of being separated from the mother. So cranial sacral for infants, vital for all three of those children. Not rolling, it's too much at the beginning. Cranial sacral for infants, very specific of unwinding the growing spine.
Yep.
Okay.
They would be too young. They would be too young for SC, but they need somebody to deal with the trauma that they came in with. Because I can guarantee you, when you come in with a disadvantage like that, everything else is a struggle when you are growing up. I want to say something here, Jesse. Look, you're a really good man. You are a really good man. I want to say that here, because that kind of work that you're doing right now, yeah, a lot of people will not take that up. They wouldn't. So
yeah, it takes, and we definitely have a lot. So we just try to recreate patterns as best we can and give a lot of love. So in a lot of cases, we got most things covered, but the night terrors really leaves us with our hands tied, right?
So do they ever have night terrors at the same time?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so what it is they're in a shared dreaming space, and you got to get them into a different kind of sleeping space. So maybe a couple times a week you move all the cribs into your bedroom so that you're under a single energy bubble. Okay, they're all still infants. They all should still be at that stage. And then the next thing here is these children are in a state of phasing in and out of reality, looking for spiritual contracts that don't exist anymore.
Yep.
And you can offer them new things, new potentialities. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a singer, a songwriter, and make that part of your loving expression to them as you're holding them. You could be anything you want. Free will here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. We're the breaker of contracts.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate your time. I'd like to book a session with you guys in the near future here. I appreciate everything you guys do.
You're welcome, man. You're inspiring to a lot of people. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Next caller.
Robert, spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Thanks, Jesse. Diane Teiste.
Jesse Diane Teiste, are you there?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Millis, Massachusetts, and I'm hiding in my garage from my family.
Hiding in your garage from your family because you don't want them to see you.
No, because we're just the loud house. So thank you for taking my call. When you were speaking earlier about the faking to make it part, I was struggling a little bit to find what it was that I fake it in life, because I try to be honest and transparent in things. But what I've definitely noticed in my own kind of like spiritual waking up is that what I hide from the most was really myself, right? Like my spiritual connection. There was a lot of trauma and abuse in my early years. And so I feel like I was very connected to God when I first came in, and through kind of shielding and working through my own family dynamics, I really shut down a lot of my own abilities when I was very young. You know, it was definitely a hard journey back to getting so comfortable with being in a relationship with God, source. So I would say the faking it to make it really was like my whole life, just trying to be like normal, right? Like
Or faking you have healed your breaking faith.
exactly, like raised, you know, Roman Catholic, and
You're a classic recovering Catholic who never healed your faith.
yes,
No
and
matter
so
how far up the love and light ass you went, spreading glitter everywhere you went, it still didn't fix your broken faith.
no, absolutely. It was, but it was really kind of having to go in deep, right? Doing a lot of shadow work, doing a lot of, I think once I started being a Reiki client, and then after I got Reiki certified, it was a shift in
Because you
kind of
started
being,
making light instead of making shadow.
oh my gosh, it was like I didn't have any idea that I had so much light inside of me. And now it's literally to the point where people I work with, and I've, you know, I changed jobs, I changed organizations, I've flushed my wedding rings down the toilet last March and said no more. It was really, I never had boundaries until like the past year and a half. I never, even though I was into, you know,
So
spiritual things.
I'm gonna turn up the roasting energy for a second, and I'm gonna
Sure,
make
I'm
a
already sweating.
specific statement. Why not sell the wedding rings? Why flush them down the toilet?
To be honest, it was, I didn't want to do, I never wanted to be married before I met my husband. And so he really helped to shift my perception of what a loving relationship looks like. But at that point, you know, it was kind of in the beginning of lockdown. I was really coming into a lot of my intuition and awareness, and it was very uncomfortable for me. And so it was like,
you're avoiding the answer. Come on, stop beating around the bush. And
can you repeat it again? I'm sorry.
Exactly, to the point you don't even want to know the answer to the question. Why did you flush it versus not sell it?
Because things like that don't mean anything to me. Like I don't put value. I don't put value in.
They mean a lot to you. You flushed
The
it down the
ring?
toilet. Yes, you did. You flushed it
You
down
think
the toilet. Hell, that means a lot to you. Yes, that's all pent up energy.
Oh, you're right. I guess in a way it was more of like, it was a statement of not this way. Like I felt owned. I felt like the ring was binding.
Let's switch a second. If you had gone to a pawn shop and sold them and walked out with $400, what's the difference?
I would have felt guilty. I would have felt
so flushing it doesn't make you feel guilty.
So you're still attached to the idea.
Yeah.
You're still attached to the idea, is what he's trying to tell you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I followed this little twinge of energy in you because of the picture you have. You're there by the beach with your arms open and wide, but you aren't ready to be open.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like two steps forward, one step back.
You know, you are so compacted in this image, it's ridiculous. Compacted to the point where you need a hammer and chisel to get through your muscle structure. You're that tight. Why are you that tight? Why aren't you letting go? Why are you holding on to everyone else's stress?
That was actually a really free moment in that picture. So that's interesting. That was a good day.
But it isn't. Your spinal alignment isn't there. That's the thing about joy. It reveals the truth about our body.
Wow.
Dan, do you like your life?
Do I like my life?
Mm-hmm. Do you like your life?
I do. I like it a lot more now than I used to.
Really? What do you like about it?
I love my family. I love the stability that
as you're fighting off the tears. As you're fighting off the tears and making it think like we can't see it.
No, I'm not crying.
No, you were fighting them off.
You think so? Maybe.
Oh, David, did you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it. I'm about to go down that road with her.
Yeah.
Diane, you
Mhm.
still married?
I am for 10 years now.
Okay, but you just don't have the rings.
No, he bought me a new one.
Oh, he did. Oh, are you wearing
I
it right
told
now?
him. I told him. Yeah, I did.
Are you wearing it right now? I
Mhm.
see. So you're wearing it right now. And what happened to the old ones?
I flushed them.
You flushed them and now you're wearing a new one.
I honestly don't wear jewelry often. So if I wear it, it's really to go out.
Are you going out right now?
No, I'm home cooking.
But you're wearing your wedding ring.
No, I'm not.
You're not wearing it? Where is it?
I keep it over my sink, but it's because I have chickens, I have kids, I wash my hands a lot, and so it's uncomfortable for me. I don't feel comfortable in jewelry. I don't feel comfortable in tight bound things like rings,
Like a
bracelets.
marriage, for instance?
Yeah, that was not natural for me.
Okay, so you didn't like marriage, but your husband convinced you to be married. Why?
It wasn't a convincing. It was more of I saw in him a man that was honestly completely opposite of my father.
Okay, so you're married based on spiritual energetic rebound. Is that what you're saying to me?
I would say more of meeting a person. He was the first person I met in life who energetically met me, was willing to allow me to be me without trying to change me.
I would like to summarize everything you've said in the last 5 minutes. Shall I?
Absolutely.
I never wanted to be married. I met a man who I was not like my father, and so I got married. Then I flushed my rings down the toilet because of some sort of symbolic, through some sort of symbolic, energetic throwing away of the waste of my life. And then my husband, who I never wanted to get married, but somehow he was different from my father, bought me a new wedding ring. Did you hear what you just said? I repeated it to you.
It does sound very strange when it's summarized like that. Yes.
Yeah, I would say it sounds very strange. I suppose you would have to fill in the inconsistencies for us.
It sounds like a soap opera scene.
It does. It does. Yeah, I honestly navigating navigating relationships with men has been difficult.
Oh, I see.
My life, you know. It never something that felt a marriage of convenience. No, I could have conveniently lived my life as a single person, you know.
But you didn't. You didn't.
I'm just repeat. You just gotta repeat what she said to her. You said you like the stability. What does that mean?
It makes me. He's helped me feel safe.
Okay, so the man who's not like your father, who you flushed the rings down the toilet of the person, and who bought you another one, makes you feel safe. What does safe mean to you, Diane? Diane, this is a roasting, as you could possibly guess. I'm doing the psychological surgery on you right now.
Okay.
Psychic and psychological surgery is what's going on here. I'm asking you, what does safe mean to you?
Safe to me means not being attacked.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier that you were traumatized when you were young from experiences, and the man in question, so I'm going to guess your father had something to do with your trauma. Am I correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. So you met a man that was not like your father, and you, even though you didn't want to get married, you got married to him because he made you feel safe, but not safe enough to keep the rings, so you flushed them down the toilet. I keep coming back to the energetic symbolism of you flushing rings, okay? Right. Because the only reason people flush anything down the toilet is when they think it's shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't take the ring to Mount Mordor to be melted down either.
Right.
Okay? You didn't go on a quest to discover why you're bound with this energy. So Are you a D- effort student?
It sure would seem like it.
Okay. What about all the
Diane,
other? What about all the other effort you put in?
what
It
I was
does-
about to ask. Thank you, Andrew. Let's go.
Okay. You're stuck between, do I give any effort to clear this other subject matter out that I've known forever, or do I still keep working on the other stuff that's not making me any better?
Yeah.
Remember, Diane, you did shadow work. Do you think
Right.
that you have a shadow right now? Right now, at this moment, speaking to me, speaking to Andrew, do you think that there's a shadow? Do you think you have a blind spot somewhere at all?
I think when it's I think it's not as big as it used to be, but there are those moments where not my rational self flares up, right?
Your shadow has many Pavlov's dogs moment with you. It can make you salivate with any subject it wants.
Right.
And you might want to deal with that shadow, because you see, it's the things that you try to avoid are the things that will come back to get you. You know that.
Right. That's a lot of what I'm working with right now. It's been coming up for years and years and years. But to be honest, as a young person with therapy and talking with my family, it wasn't fully addressed. And so as an adult, learning to deal with things like, I mean, it's some pretty gnarly stuff, like child molestation. Honestly, a lot of the memories that are coming up to me now, I don't even know who to talk to. It's like flashbacks, PTSD things of like satanic ritual abuse. My dad was in the military for 20 years. Like, I have a lot of weird experiences as a young person that I can't experience. There are lots of moments where just missing memories, and I have very, very clear memories as a young person, starting from like a year and a half old.
Okay.
So it's really, a lot of these things have come up since I've had children, since I became a mother. And so learning to wake up while having young children and also learning to deal with your own shit is complicated.
You feel that, Andrew? Anyway, I got a bunch of questions, a series of questions to ask you, one after the other. You ready?
Yeah.
There should be no pause. Just answer me. You love your husband?
Without a doubt.
You in love with your husband?
Yes.
You like being married?
Yes.
You like being married long term?
Yes.
Does marriage feel like a prison to you?
No.
So you feel free?
Yes.
Do you think you have a shadow?
Yes.
Do you think your shadow might be ruling some of your answers right now?
Maybe.
Do you think you have a blind spot?
Yes.
What do you think is the nature of your blind spot?
Fear.
Ah, I see. What are you afraid of?
Seeing what I know is there.
Oh, I see. So what do you think is going to happen when you see what you know is there? You think things might change?
Yes. I think like my old life, my normal life, it will almost be impossible to stay there. Right? Like it's like at that cusp of, do I want to stay with my old life, or am I ready to really be free, right? Really open up, really put that energy into myself and into the things I'm passionate about and want to grow. Okay,
I'm going to acquaint you with a philosopher from God knows when, because I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to philosophers. Okay? Immanuel Kant said, any right or ethical action has to fulfill 3 criteria. Okay, let me explain to you what the criteria are. The first criteria was that it had to be universally applied. If it was right in Egypt, it was right in the US, it was right everywhere else, universally applied. The second criteria was that it had to be reversible, meaning that whatever you did, you must necessarily accept that the reverse should be the same, and should also be right. So if you punch me in the face, you must accept that I must punch you in the face. The third criteria, right, which is very indicated here, is that everything had to be done in the spirit of freedom. Every decision that you make out of fear is not a right action. Do you understand that?
Right. Right.
Every time you make a decision and you're making it out of fear, then you are coercing yourself into a situation or any set of situations,
Right.
which is not fair to yourself. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, David, we've got to move on to the next caller. We've gone a bunch of overtime here.
Thank you
Okay,
so
sure,
much.
no problem.
everybody.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot for calling in. All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okay, Jackie.
Jackie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Hi, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas. Welcome to the show. What do you think of what you've heard so far in today's show?
Oh, it's been really interesting. I can relate to a lot of the callers. Yeah, I want to thank the first caller, Patricia, because I had raised my hand and then I haven't been on your show for a while or heard your show for a while, so I didn't know what to expect. So I felt like she was kind of the sacrificial lamb. So,
She was the flame tester.
She was. So after I heard what you had to tell her, and I raised my hand back up. So yeah, it's been really interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so David, let's get started here. Let's turn up the fire. Let's put her on the rack here.
Oh, she has very bright energy. Hello, Jackie.
Hi, how are you, David?
I'm good. Let's talk.
Okay.
What is your issue, Jackie? What ails you?
Okay. I was thinking about what to ask you all, and I thought I would go deep and let you know about or ask for some advice on dealing with fear of betrayal in my relationships. Every time I'm in a relationship, you know, I end up succumbing to this fear that I'm going to be betrayed. I know the root that it comes from, because my parents divorced, and one of them was unfaithful to the other and practically was living another life. And somehow obviously I was young, so it definitely influenced me, and it's just a constant struggle. Every relationship I've been in, I end up becoming miserable because I can't shake that fear.
What is expected tends to be realized. The first rule of the mind.
Mm-hmm. I know, right? And so I'm thinking that I'm projecting, that I'm attracting it, and ultimately it's only happened, as far as I know, out of all my relationships, it's only happened once, where somebody, my partner of 5 years, lied to me and cheated on me and ended up getting another girl pregnant and held it from me. And and once I came out of that, I realized, okay, well, I didn't die. Like, I was able to survive that. Like, I know that I'm gonna be okay if it happens. But the next relationship I was in, which ended up being with a girl, and I thought maybe it'd be different, but I ended up having the same fear, even with the girl.
Yeah, well, you survived it. Not really, because your emotional body didn't survive it very well. You have scarring out of the yin yang from your parents' divorce, and you have scarring right now. So let's go high level and let's break it down to the nitty-gritty, shall we? High level. Jackie, do you realize you don't own anyone?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you realize that? Does it really land for you?
I've struggled with that feeling of, I know that it's not realistic, but I know that a lot of my fear comes from a feeling of possessiveness.
Okay. Do you know that what is expected tends to be realized, and the more you try to own people, the more imprisoned you send that imprisoning energy to them?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
What is your genealogy? What is your bloodline?
I'm indigenous. I have I have indigenous blood, Chiricahua, Apache, Aztec, and Huichol, Wararica.
Uh-huh.
Mexican in genealogy, and German also.
Oh, that's an interesting mix.
Yeah, I have freckles, but I'm dark skinned.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you know you don't own anyone, right? Let's get back to original.
Yes.
Okay. So, Jackie, let me ask you a question. Because you don't own anyone and you try to imprison people, do you think spiritually that is a good thing to do?
Well, of course not. This all, like, logically speaking, I understand the concepts of not being able to own someone. And I try really hard in relationships to surrender and to let go. And it's been the issue is, like, I can logically think it, but my instinct and the feel, like, I feel this burning feeling inside of me of fear. And that's,
Jackie, have you ever cheated on anyone?
I have, yes.
Oh, interesting. How
Mhm.
many times?
Once.
It's only once.
Only once.
Did you cheat on the person that cheated on you?
Did I cheat? Yes, actually. Yeah. The person, so I was in a relationship, and the person I ended up getting in a relationship with for a month, I had started this relationship with him. And I ended up telling my partner, letting him know, that I've been with this other person for a month. And it was actually through medicine ceremony that
Oh, interesting.
that I was shown, it's, you have to come out from under this shadow that you're creating for yourself, because you're creating a shadow for your lineage. If you were to get pregnant with this person by cheating, you're bringing children into this shadow, and they're going to have to carry it. Kind of what happened to me as a daughter. So I went that night to tell my partner I've been with someone else, and I broke up with them that night.
Who cheated first?
I did with my boyfriend, and got with the guy who I spent 4 years with, who inevitably, the full circle came around, and he ended up cheating on me.
Okay. And him cheating on you hurt you pretty badly, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was like
Devastating.
one of the worst pains I've felt.
Jackie, might it be that you don't trust yourself as well?
Yes, I've worked very, very, I've been working on that for a very long time. Learning.
Jackie, why are you flogging other people with your own shit?
No, I'm not doing it on purpose. Yeah, I'm not doing it on purpose.
So do you accidentally whip people?
Yeah, I do. I
So is it accidentally on purpose? Did I do that?
Andrew.
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
That is how subtle the shadow can manipulate some of your things that may have good intentions, but shadowy behaviors behind them.
I know.
Can I ask you a question? Have you tried open relationships?
I haven't, but I've definitely thought about them and considered them to help me deal with, like, the possessiveness and the jealousy.
Do you think you can actually be non-possessive in an open relationship?
I would love that. I like the idea, but I don't know. I
would not bet credits on that one.
Stop it.
I would not bet credits on that one.
I know. I don't think I can. And it's really interesting that you bring up my genealogy, because another medicine ceremony I was in with a peyote showed me this, like, long line, showed me my indigenous blood, and it showed me my Spanish blood, and how the Spanish blood has this colonizing possessive energy. Like, they thought the earth belonged to them, and they tried to take it and make it their own, and now we're in this, this state that we're in. And then the indigenous side knows that we belong to the earth, that nothing belongs to us. And so it showed me how I have how do those seeds manifest in you today? And I knew that's how it manifests in my relationships.
Well, right now you're a danger to others. Do you realize that?
Yeah, that's why I've been single for many years, because I'm trying to work on it,
What are you trying to work on exactly?
my self-esteem.
What about your self-esteem that's lacking, Jackie?
Just loving myself and feeling whatever it is I'm trying to find in another person within myself, and learning to trust myself, learning that.
So part of you is validating externally through others.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of internal validation.
Yes. And so, Andrew, last time I spoke to you, I spoke to you about, I've always had this dream to make a movie, and
I remember.
Yeah, and I finally made it about my mother. And so those are the type of things that I feel like paying attention to my passions and trusting that I have something to offer the world that's not connected to being in a relationship is what I'm trying to invest my time in right now.
Maybe
you want to be a disconnected professional.
No, I would love to have a partner eventually, but I just feel like
right now you're accepting disconnected professional.
I guess you can say that. I don't understand that term exactly.
Disconnected professional, meaning while you're a professional, it will absorb and occupy the majority of your life. And whatever time you leave left for yourself, because you're the one still controlling your reality, will mean spirituality and all the other things you're going to want to do are going to have second place.
That might be the case.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely want.
But you can't have your cake and eat it too.
I want my cake. I like.
Okay, you can have your cake and eat it too. It's just your previous states of beingness and perceptions are blocking you from a new perspective of how to integrate all that into your life.
Do you recommend anything to help me? Any...
Okay, for lack of being cliched, you need spiritual jazzercise.
Mm-hmm.
You need a somebody to come in and motivate you every morning if you can't self-motivate.
Mm-hmm.
You need a sparkly glitter glander to come in and whack you on the ass to turn happy when you're sad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you need to get out there and date as much as you can, even if it's carnal dating.
Mm.
Okay, you're beginning to lose confidence in yourself and your social skills. That whatever interpersonal social skills, intimate social skills you have left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you lose the rest of your intimate intersocial skills, relationships are going to be more foreign to you than you can even describe what there are now.
Yeah.
You won't be able to have any ways of sharing your emotional issues or them understanding what your emotional issues even could possibly be, because you don't have control over them. What are they going to do when they see your shadows suddenly come out here or there?
Unless you are absolutely honest and say,
right.
I'm a little bit crazy. I kind of get possessive. You heard that, Jackie? Okay. Do you think you can do that?
Right. Toilet paper up versus down.
Down.
Okay. People's shadows battle over that all the time.
I know. That's so true. The little things. Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So get out and date.
Okay.
Okay. Date does not mean getting laid. It means date. Experiencing the social skills and reinitiating them. And just because you're powerful doesn't mean you're going to blow up on anyone. You are the one that has to control your accidentally on purpose avalanches.
Accidentally on purpose avalanches.
Yes.
I am going to get to use that one.
Okay. And remember, you do got to let your glitter glands flow. Right now, they're a little clogged. Okay. Yeah. What's clogging your glitter glands right now?
Well, I don't know if you're sensing that a loss in the family recently. My mom's partner, 14 years, passed 2 days ago and was in a coma for about 7 weeks. And so that might be part of what you're sensing.
No, this is long term in you.
Maybe.
Whenever you gave up on dating.
Oh yeah, on dating. Yeah, I that's part of what it is. I'm trying to be conscious of what I say and what I speak into the world when it comes to like.
Let's get down to the core of this. You gave up.
Yeah, I try not to say this, but I often say like there's no one, like there's no good.
That's validating giving up every time you're doing that, which is a negative habit pattern. You have to learn how to ungive up.
Yeah.
You have to make a reversal, a take back ceremony.
A take back ceremony. Okay.
Yeah, taking back I'm ungiving up.
Yeah.
I'm taking it back.
Yeah, I always say I have slim pickings in El Paso.
No,
But
you don't. You've got plenty of pickings.
No, that's not true.
Okay? You've got plenty of pickings. You're just overly picky right now. Because
Mhm.
hardly anyone fits your hermit profile.
My hermit profile?
Oh, yeah, you are absolutely have a hermit profile to you.
I like being alone.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know that?
Maybe I'm psychic. Okay.
I do like
You
being-
project out what can be in your reality, and it's limiting 97% of your reality. And those 3% that are in your local area will never live up to your standards, which is the self-fulfilling prophecy that never comes true.
So do I lower my standards?
No, you have to look at what standards are in the first place.
Mm.
Okay, does it have to be polished gold, or can it be a nugget without judgment?
Mm-hmm.
David, you want to add to that?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I think that she needs to get back out there, regardless of whatever. Sometimes the quickest way out of a problem is to go towards it, as opposed to trying to live in your little hermitage. I know you like being alone, but if you're going to be doing other things in the world, you might need some social skills. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can socialize with my girlfriends. We go out, we dance.
That is not socializing. That is a familiarity setting you are comfortable in. Get out of that comfort curve.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to.
Mm-hmm. You also have to learn to get dopamine releases with company differently. You can't you maintain the bar dating life is the way you get your dopamine releases, because that's all it's going to feed you is that bar dating life energy.
Mm-hmm.
Not grounded at home with the potentialities of what you could be doing together.
I tried getting on Facebook dating. That's so weird for me. I'm still.
Oh no.
Yeah, stay away from that.
I can't do the online thing at all. I'm too old school. I want to meet someone organically, you know?
Oh, in COVID, really?
I know.
Said the hermit who wants to be at home alone.
You want to meet somebody organically? The way you're going to date the postman, the milk guy?
The milk guy?
The
What?
The Domino's pizza guy?
Where did I go in COVID time? To the grocery store? The mask? Anyways, I think it does have to do a little bit with not giving up and not projecting that into the world. And then something hopefully will align.
Andrew, I just had this little image of Jackie telling the Domino's pizza guy, you are not going to deliver pizza to anybody else but me.
There you go.
Jackie, you're going to be okay. You are.
Oh,
Get out some more.
Just get out some more.
Okay. Cool.
All right, darling. Thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the callers for one more call.
Hannah Ziff coming online.
I did not hear what you were saying. Your mic blew out.
Oop.
Hannah?
Hannah Ziff.
Hannah, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you calling from?
I am in Newcastle, Washington right now.
Newcastle, Washington. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy on things.
What did you think of today's show so far?
I thought it was the most relatable thing I have heard in a long time. That's how I felt to all of the callers that I heard so far.
So is there anything specific you want to bring at us? An issue you have coming up? A self-deprecating pattern? Something you want us to turn up the roasting fires on?
Sure. So I really related, especially to the relationship stuff. I feel like my relationship's actually in a pretty stable place for me. But I also feel like in this relationship, it hasn't been as intimate as I would like.
Can you stop right there? In this 30 seconds you've been calling, you fought off 2 waves of tears and one woe is we energy that was so bad that it's like it wanted to have a pity party around you. Do you not have control of your emotions?
That's funny because I do feel like I do a good job of fighting it off, but
Oh,
No, you don't.
you don't.
You don't at all.
You don't.
You do not at all. Okay. Even the muggles in the audience are like, what's wrong with her? Okay.
yeah, thank you.
You do not hide it well at all.
No, yeah, I'm not a good hider. That's true.
Okay.
Tell us about the intimacy issues now.
Yes, tell us about them.
I guess I just feel like I want more. My partner and I are both only children, and I feel like I need a lot of attention, but he needs a lot of alone time.
Alone from you?
I guess so, because he still goes and hangs out with his friends, but I mean, we still get together once a week for lunch, but that's not even like half of what I need, I feel like.
So you are dating somebody who you only go meet once a week for lunch?
Well, he's my baby daddy, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Is he not really a part of baby daddy's life? Is he an absent baby daddy just paying the bills?
No, well, more like the opposite. Like he takes our son a couple weeks a month, but I pay most of the bills for the son.
Okay. So he's just there to have his side of the fathership. There is no relationship between you and him.
That's how I feel, but he said that he feels like it's finally starting to go well between us, but I kind of feel like that's because I kind of gave up on having my needs met, but my need for family and stability is met, but not for the kind of intimacy that I want to experience.
What does that mean?
I guess I want more good times between us, like not just meeting up once a week for lunch. And then I do feel like I need a lot more physical time. Like at this point, I feel like I need to just be held for like 3 days straight, like a full weekend and just cuddling. And...
Oh, come on. 3 days of hugging? There's no man in the world that's going to do 3 days of hugging. Come on.
Well, I'm keeping it PG because
I know, but you actually meant hugging. That's the thing.
Okay, 3 days in bed. Okay, I'll leave it.
Yeah, but you still meant the hugging part. That it wasn't the sex that was going to fulfill. It was going to be the hugging.
Because I feel like the sex is too short. It's like 10 minutes, but I need a lot.
Well, then you need to work on some endurance stuff.
I think she meant him.
I need more attention. Yeah, what do you got to say, David?
Question. A couple of questions. Has your partner said to you that they're interested in a long-term relationship with you, yes or no?
Yes.
And he said this verbally to you?
You know, he's never said that straightforward, but
Have you asked it?
So then how could you answer yes if he's never actually verbally answered straightforward to you?
Well, we talked about me moving in with him in 2018. So I moved in with him 2018. Since then I've moved out, but to me the moving in was kind of a long term. That was that kind of.
Why did you move out?
It was too crazy. We were fighting all the time in front of the kids. And he has 3 older kids too.
He has 3 other kids now. Oh, more stuff's coming into the story now.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people in this story.
Oh, are there
Or
other
taking
women?
up so much time.
Are there other women in this story?
Yes, because there's that ex-wife and
how are things with the ex-wife?
not that great. And I think that there's some weird energy going on in the house before I came into the picture that I've just been kind of wrangling with, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been meditating every day for over a month. So it's just, things are just becoming a lot more obvious and clarified.
If you got your needs met, what would it look like?
Like I said, like just a few days straight, like just the 2 of us of just quality time. And just a lot of attention, like maybe like I feel like I want him to want me, so like call me, text me, ask me to hang out, like not me initiate everything. Yeah.
You know that half the women in the audience are like, why are you messing with this guy? He's messing with your head. Why can't you see that?
Yeah, I think I am at that point where I've tried everything. So, but I because of the family
You think,
situation,
maybe you've overtried?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you think,
Do you think you're
overtried?
trying too hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried too hard. But so I just decided to wait a week and then move forward because I just don't want to move too fast and then regret anything.
Well, that's an easy way for you to say if I make a hard decision, I can go back and make an easy decision and never have to make any hard decisions.
So in the tradition of roasting, I'm going to say to you straight, Anna, you need to probably, the relationship is going to become toxic for you if it hasn't already.
It already is toxic. You're just right now too blind to hear the way he's sliding you off.
Yeah, you guys are the best. I'm definitely going to listen to this again. This is what I needed to hear. Yeah.
You are in a toxic relationship. You need to get out, or else you're harming yourself, and you're harming your self-esteem if you're not getting your needs met. You should never give up on having your needs met. That is something that should never happen. Your parents and your parents and you are not brought here to kowtow to another human being and what their deficiencies are. You absolutely need to get your needs met. Do you understand that?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, I feel so much better. Okay, I'm gonna cry now for real.
Okay. Let her rip.
Okay.
All right, Hannah, thanks a lot for calling in.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. I love you guys.
Okay.
Well, David, this was another very spectacular show.
Yes, I had fun. I love these shows.
So, Robert, is Monty there? Bring Monty
He
on.
is. Let me get him set up to come up. You know what? He may not be. There he is. Signal to unmute, Monty.
Thank you for recognizing my existence, Robert.
Monty,
You're welcome.
I'm cold. It's 7 degrees Celsius in Melbourne, so winter's turned up. Yay.
Well, what I wanted to bring up between you and David is for you guys to have a rift and a rant on the counterculture itself.
Well, is there a counterculture at the moment?
No, cancel culture, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, there isn't a there's cancer culture where, like you mentioned before, there's element of the division. People can't have a conversation. People can't have, if you disagree with people, that's sort of blown out of the water. But you can't even have a conversation with someone because it's like, well, I like bananas. Well, obviously you hate oranges. I didn't say that. What about pears? You fruitist. So that's sort of where we're at. And as I'm talking to you gentlemen, Earth is a college, a university, and we're here to learn. And by making mistakes, you usually have a lesson to learn. Now, I think JFK said it. Mistake is when you realize you did something wrong and you rectify it. An error is if you keep making the same mistake. You're not allowed to make mistakes in cancer culture. Oh, there's a tweet from 2007 that you said this. So therefore, you have to lose your career, your livelihood, your house, your wife, and everything else. This is like the extreme version of cancer culture at the moment in certain parts where, instead of even the censorship in movies where like they tried to cancel Gone with the Wind because apparently it portrayed African Americans in a bad light. So like, you do know it was made in 1932 about something, about
happening in the Civil War.
Yeah, in the Civil War in the 1860s. They're just telling a story, and they also slightly censored the book as well because they didn't say the N word. They basically portrayed. They honored the African Americans. They were just showing life back then, but in a positive, neutral way. If that's one way of saying it.
There are other things that are coming into play with this cancel culture. It's like there are two things that are happening here. The first thing is that in cancel culture, there's a spite factor, right? Mm. The spite factor is bad enough because people should know better, right? But then there's another aspect of it that says that we're waiting for you to offend us.
Yes.
And then you have people like me that'll say, well, since you're waiting, let you not wait anymore. Okay, we're waiting for you to offend us. Sometimes this has gotten out of hand. I think all good things start with all bad things start with good intentions. The intention in the cancel culture was to rein in the level of asshole behavior that was happening. But then when you become the asshole yourself,
Yeah.
right? When you become the asshole yourself, when somebody can't say certain things around you, and then you're telling people shit like this argument on social media, you are transphobic if you do not date a trans person. No. There's that big argument. You guys have heard this argument, right?
Yeah.
There's still going to be this thing as there's still going to be something called preference. Okay, I prefer not to date pigs.
Yeah.
Does that mean I hate pigs? No.
Because you're a vegetarian.
Yeah, there is that as well. Yeah. I mean, there's an element, a video, because I wander into the battlefield that is Twitter for comedic purposes as well. Well, if it gets too much, I just drop it, like, bad energy. However, there was a video of a large woman, and she seemed, like kind of beautiful, but she was batshit crazy because apparently, if you don't date a fat woman, it's fat phobic. It's the same sort of logic, and it's like a preference is if you want to get into a kayak, all that type of stuff. And it's like, well, I'm not going to date you because you're fat. I'm going to not date you because you're an insane, egotistical narcissist. But it's the preference. And like with the trans thing, I would like the option of continuing my bloodline. So, I need someone with the uterus. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there are these concerns, and I think that a lot of the argument and the discourse gets lost in people being when I was in law school, we learned something called a bombast. This is where you say something and I get so over the top offended that it neutralizes your argument. Okay, it's a bunch of shit. You don't argue like that. Nobody learns anything, right? And Andrew, it used to be that only young people were driving this cancel culture. Well, when you are in your 40s and your 50s and you're driving cancel culture, I'm like, do you not have a job?
See, David,
do you not have a job?
It wasn't the young people driving counterculture, the cancel culture. It was the blue check marks who have somewhat of an industry name, like they're the third developer on a 5 video game streak. Okay. People with a 5,000 or 2,000 or 1,000 followers who became a collective of social justice defenders, who then became a loose group of attackers.
What does that mean? I still have a problem. What does social justice mean? There is no such thing as social justice. There's either justice or there's not.
You've heard of hood justice.
All right. But there's only justice.
You've heard of island justice. You've heard of island justice, southern justice. Everyone has their own version of justice. And a social justice war is whatever applies to you at the time of your beliefs.
I see. That's when you see social justice warrior business is going to eat itself. Okay?
It already has.
It's doing it now, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to eat itself because, come on, you sit there every day waiting for somebody to offend you so you could jump on them and destroy their lives. I understand this concept. There's a vicious, sort of spiteful aspect to it, which I absolutely don't identify with. But then you have when I see people in certain positions attempting to be social justice warriors, like if you're a multimillionaire, as an example, and you're on social media and you're saying, oh, all these corporate billionaires, you're a freaking celebrity, okay?
Yeah.
You're a celebrity, all right? You know where your next meal is coming from.
Mm-hmm. You have
but you're out there.
Bedrooms. Yeah.
You're on social media and you're crying down corporate billionaires because you're a multimillionaire. You're not a billionaire, right? Come on. And it's
We
what
need
I don't.
we need social justice for billionaires.
You know what, Andrew? The thing that upsets me most of all is that it has permeated the spiritual and esoteric communities. Right? It has
But
permeated.
that's been going on for a long time.
Well,
The
it's like
point.
The materially wealthy and mentally deficient have taken over spirituality.
Look, the point of being spiritual, or the point of being in an esoteric community, is togetherness, not separation.
So then why are all the hermits coming?
because we don't like going out there. It's too peoply.
Jackie, you still with us, right? Don't take it personally. The roasting is over, right? Don't take it personally.
Well, I'm a hermit. Like I realize my sex life's turned into like I'm a Vulcan and I'm on my pond far, and they only have sex once every 7 years. So, but I do have like an excuse. You know, we keep going into lockdown, so it's interesting.
Yeah, but lockdown's only been a year. You still got a 7-year streak, Monty.
Yeah, no. I think I'm in year 6. But anyway, moving on. It's like with the cancer culture thing. People, they're waiting to be offended, or they look for something that they find offensive. And it's like, you know, if everything's sexist, they look at a TV show or a movie, and a woman walks across the screen, and then instantly it's sexism. They're projecting their beliefs in a certain way. I get attacked, or I was getting attacked a couple of years ago because I don't like a script, and I get called sexist and racist. It's got nothing to do with the actors. It's the actual. How is a script a race or a sex? That's the level of. It's like
when the script when the script is Star Wars, it can be all of those things.
Yeah, well,
that's why those cultures went into things like Star Wars, because they could be heard because of the volume of people that are just watching the argument.
Yeah.
So it's really a vanity-based argument.
Yeah, it is.
There was a movement to take and I want to say this. There was a movement to take voluptuous women out of the video games. You've played GTA. You've played
Comic Skate.
Yeah. Right, there was a movement to take all the voluptuous women out. Okay, look, guys, really, I don't think playing the video game turns somebody into a misogynist. Unless you're playing GTA, then yeah. You know?
Well, there's a difference between living the game and playing the game. Yeah.
Exactly my point. It is a decision that you make. But cancel culture is very active and everywhere, and it needs something to keep feeding itself. So every day there's something new. Like the trans argument is a ridiculous argument, right? If I have a preference for men or women, so be it. If I have a preference for women over men, so be it. Or somewhere in between, so be it. But it is my preference, and it should remain my preference. It doesn't mean that I have a prejudice.
Yeah,
right.
It's the virtue.
Your preference is somebody else's prejudice.
You agree?
But that's the level we're at, where it's like, you know, going back to, you know, I like bananas, so you hate oranges, and you want all pears to be removed. It's like the jump of faith is just astounding. It's like, well, you know, I like not all fruit, and it's kind of ridiculous, but everyone's a little bit nutty, and so there's the virtual signaling and the lashing out, and it's just really weird. Like even the hypocrisy between the administration in the United States now compared to the last one, where you can see the differences. Where this example, they're both as bad as each other. I sound like my mum. Well, actually, I think one's slightly a bit more than the other one, but the point is the way that but he's on our team, so we'll let him have a pass, but he's not on our team, so we'll you know, and it's just, I can't even explain what I'm trying to say. It sucks. There you go, back to you.
I'm gonna give you an example of an experience I had recently. I listened to Blue Collar Comedy. Does anybody know Larry the Cable Guy?
Yeah, Larry the Cable Guy.
That is funny as shit. I highly recommend it to everyone in this chat, whether you have a stick up your ass or not. There's this blue collar comedy. Okay, it's go listen to Larry the Cable Guy. This guy makes the most inappropriate, disgusting redneck jokes imaginable, and I was in stitches. Right, right. So there comes a point in time where you say, this shit is genuinely funny. Okay, I may not like redneck culture, but I love this guy.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, the way that cancel culture is, it's trying to destroy comedy, where comedians, and even it just spreads out just to people in limelight or that have seen, you start to censor yourself. Oh, I can't say that because people will react. And that's not freedom. Now, obviously, you can't go around saying I hate all the gays, because that's just hateful. But my point is, like, where you can't just make a joke where 99% of people would laugh at it, but one person gets offended, and then it's a Twitter storm and a movement and everything else like that. Where Bill Burr, if you're familiar with him, he gets attacked because he just points out stuff like he's called a racist, and yet he marries a black woman that he loves, and they've got a child together.
I love that guy.
Yeah, then the response from that was, "Oh, a lot of racists marry black women so they can have this master slavery."
Oh,
the mentality, the mental gymnastics that is going on is just astounding.
Look at the color of my skin on this show. You will notice that I look a little bit different than you and Andrew, the Greek guy.
Yeah, you're not as pale as me. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I love blue collar comedy. I love that shit. I love Bill Burr. Right. I love this guy because the stuff that he points out is it's accurate, but it's painfully accurate. And that's what makes you laugh. Right. It's painfully accurate. There was another guy, George Carlin. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh yeah.
Funny as, oh, Jesus Christ. That he was funny. Right. But his jokes were very inappropriate. So the point that I'm trying to make, at some point in time, you just got to take the stick out of your ass, whether you think you're holier than thou. This righteousness needs to end. Honestly, it does.
Yeah. Well, and like as a reverse to you liking Larry the Cable Guy, Andrew and I both like Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's brilliant as a comic. And it's strange. I get called a racist. Like, but I own most Public Enemy records. I'm a massive fan of Living Color. I listen to blah blah blah. I even like bands from Japan and Germany and everything else like that. But people can't actually, your race. And in the bigger thing, like not cancel culture, but it's fueling the cancel culture in a way, is that apparently only white people can be racist because we're all colonizers. And we should be.
You're from Australia.
Yeah.
You are the last person who is a colonizer.
I was born in England.
Oh, you were born. Okay, you were born in England. Okay. Yeah. So you're one of those. You're one of those.
Well, no, my parents were on holiday. But yeah. But hang out with the Galactic historian, and you realize that we're all colonizers because we're not from this planet.
For those of you who don't know the history of Australia. Australia was a virtual prison for the disgraced of English society. So they sent to Australia all the white people they didn't want, right?
Except for Melbourne. All the other places were penal colonies, except for Melbourne. So, mainly Scottish and Irish, because that's how the English were back then.
You come from Australia, somebody calling you a colonizer, really? Seriously? Okay, look, I honestly believe that people generally they lose sight of what they're trying to do. So you're trying to suppress racism or misogyny, but you get so caught up in your own self, right? That you're arguing points that people have not even made. Okay, you're arguing against, like, for what? So let's say I look at Monty, I say, well, you're a racist, you're a misogynist. Andrew, you're a racist, you're a misogynist. Right?
David, how can I be a racist or misogynist if I hate everyone equally?
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Well, yeah,
It's-
I'm not racist.
you're an equal opportunity hater.
Yes.
Is what- you're equal opportunity. You're an
I
equal
say-
opportunity.
There's only one race, and I hate it.
Yes, there's only one race, and I
hate it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, also the way that academia has been infested by the Marxist woke culture. The latest one, there's a professor, I think in the New York area. She's not white. I can't remember exactly what the makeup. And she's a human. So let's move on. But she's actually saying in lectures, I have dreams of shooting white people, and I'll be totally fine with it. They're at the level of like they're spouting out violence against white people because they're racist colonizers and they've ruined the planet and they should all die, basically. And they're teaching that to kids. That's just one example. Just that whole culture where 8-year-olds are learning because they're white that they're bad and they're racist, which is racism, apparently.
I want to say something here. This movement towards the Marxist ideology was started even when I was in school. When you go to university, you absolutely need something to be angry about, apparently. Okay.
Yeah.
And I went to school also in California.
Yeah.
Right?
Price of the books, the shitty of this, of the education.
Everything has an ism behind it. That was in my time. Everything has this ism behind it. Look, and then at the end of the day, I was the only guy. I'm in university, and they're having a demonstration, right? And they knock on my door, and they're like, "Aren't you angry about this? Aren't you angry about it?" I'm like, not really. I'm going back to sleep. You're not gonna catch me out there with a placard holding it up to people who don't give a shit what I have to say.
Exactly.
Okay, and there's a herd mentality. Stupidity has a sort of magnetism to it. Did you realize that?
Yes, like gravity.
Right?
Yeah, it's great. You meet one person and they're highly intelligent, but the more people that join that group, the intelligence drops. It's fascinating how that works.
Yeah, it has a kind of magnetism, and I witnessed it only when I was in the academic environment, and I've been in a few of them. And stupidity has a sort of magnetism. There is academia, and then there's common sense. What they're doing nowadays is not academia, because academia is supposed to open you up and have that conversation. If you can't have that conversation, if you can't have a conversation or stand the criticism, then you're not an academic. You're just posing.
Yeah.
You're just posing.
Well, apparently this week, the president of the United States said the greatest threat to America is global warming, which is interesting because last week it was white supremacy. So it'll be interesting to see what he says next week.
Yo, the US is really messed up, huh? The US is like a third world country. You got the left, you got the right. So if you're really a true white supremacist and racist, you're gonna find yourself on the right. If you are, if you want to wake up tomorrow and you want to fuck sheep, for instance, you know that you have a sympathetic air on the left because it's your preference, right? It's your gender. Yeah. It's your sexual orientation. Come on, right?
Yeah.
So there is no center anymore. There's no center common sense anymore.
No, there's no discourse. And like Antifa, technically I'm not a big fan of fascism. However, Antifa are acting like fascists, burning, destroying, trying to kill, and cancer culture as well. It's like, we're fighting fascism. Why are you acting like fascists? That's not, is it Nietzsche? Be careful when you fight monsters, you may become them.
Yes.
There's an element of that where it's like, it's just really weird that the division in the United States where the left are trying to save America, but they hate the flag and all this other stuff and the history and blah, 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 blah. And then the right, I think, are basically, for America.
They're reacting.
They're being baited into the left are baiting the right in a certain way. I remember speaking to Andrew about 2 years ago. So I'm like, at least the right are honest about the element of racism, misogyny, and all that type of stuff. Not all of the right, but the left are complete ingenuous because it's like peace, love, and mung beans. Let's burn down the courthouse.
Stop it.
I'm getting mixed messages here.
I think it has to do with a certain element. Both sides of that argument have been hijacked by the craziest mentally ill people that you can
The
think
Karens and the Kens.
Yes.
And I'm
running the spiritual communities online and offline.
And I'm like, I'm just so over it. I used to love the esoteric community. I used to love having discussions with people. And then you have this left and right bullshit. And I'm like, I'm just so over it. Like, seriously, y'all have the kind of time for that shit? Okay.
I've got a question. With the esoteric and spiritual at large, is there an element of fear? Because what I've noticed over the last 24 months, and it's a broad spectrum statement, but people's have their own belief engine, their dream bubble, but they've put up the shields like in Star Trek and won't allow any information in so they can change their belief systems. There's like, no, this is what it is, and I'm completely right, and I ignore any type of information, like how you used to, where like I have a dream bubble, and then you say a sentence like, oh, I hear you, and I take that information and I work with it. But everyone's blocking now. That's why there's also, there's no conversation or no centered ground. No one's talking
did that to them. The university and the media did that to them. If you go to it doesn't matter whether it's CNN, whether it's Fox News, whether it's MSNBC, it doesn't matter whether it's OAN or any of these podcasts. You have an interviewer literally shouting over the guests.
Yeah.
Okay. There is no discourse anymore. So they see it on the media. They see it in university, because I do remember that when I went to the University of the West Indies years ago, I sat in a class and they were talking about colonialization. It was an African literature class.
Yeah.
And I made a very sublime and subtle point, because everybody in the class is black, lecturers black, that the middle class kids that are in this class have never been whipped in a cotton field before.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, right, you could not possibly understand what your ancestors went through. So stop fronting. As you can imagine, that wasn't received well.
No.
Right?
Clearly, you're an Uncle Tom, yeah.
No, it's not about Uncle Tom, because it's not a pro-white statement. It's just a simple statement of checking where you are, checking you where you are. Okay? I could not understand. I understand anger. I understand this concept. But you are riling yourself up and giving yourself a hernia in your cerebral cortex. Right? That's all you're giving yourself a hernia off of shit that you have never experienced.
Yeah. And there is that natural reaction of like, that's bad. That's why we kind of stopped it. And I don't know if you want to bring this up when you have arguments with this, David, like, it's like, white people, they enslaved black men. And who stopped that slavery? White people did. Because they outlawed slavery.
There was a celebration of William Wilberforce. That's an important name in history. The Emancipation Act, Britain. Okay, so they were criticizing this guy, and I'm like, it does not make a difference. You guys are looking for hate. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
You're looking for hate where there is no hate. Okay? All right? Because if it is that you ingest, and it's a kind of poison. And as I was saying, when they see it on the media, they see it in the schools and stuff like that, and they're out there. And so if you are spiritually inclined and you don't want this poison in your system, all the social shit, right, left, right, politics, he's Anglican, I'm Catholic, he's doing this or what, like all this poison that's inside your system, throw that shit in the toilet and release yourself from it. You will feel better, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You'll
for
feel
me,
better.
dealing with that type of stuff just maybe a mind exercise. Oh, they're doing that. Well, free will. I just played the free will card and it just wipes my instant karma type thing to the side, where it's like, why? I don't need to engage. If they're doing no harm, it's free will. So, you know, obviously if someone's burning down a house, I'll say something. But if someone plants, you know, someone has pineapple on their pizza instead of olives, no harm done, free will. But people just blow that out of proportion, where I like pineapple on my pizza. Here in Australia, we have Hawaiian pizzas, whatever. But people almost go to war over this type of stuff. Pineapple pizza. So yeah, it's already turning up in the chat room. But it's, you know what I mean. They're triggered by one thing, and maybe it's a greater thing that's happening with the energies. But it's just little things that trigger, and all of a sudden, they want to end my bloodline, and it's just it's my fruit on a pizza. If you don't want to eat it, don't eat it.
I got another one for you. You know who PETA is? It's an animal rights group.
People for Ethical Treatment of Animals.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there was a picture of a monkey that went to the National Geographic Explorer, the National Geographic magazine. So this guy set up his camera and this monkey rolled in, came up to the camera and pressed the shutter, right? So he took his own picture.
Yeah.
So the guy took the picture and put it in National Geographic. He got paid for it. PETA sued the guy, and this is a real documented court case, sued the guy for reparations to the monkey because he's profiting off the monkey's work. This is a real
oh my
court
God.
case. You guys can go check that out. They wanted to get money for the monkey and his family. Like, what is wrong with people?
Yeah, that's the yeah.
What is wrong with people? Like, just like the monkey.
So they want money for the monkey because he took a photo, but they skip over the fact that the monkey was in a cage. Or whatever. It's yeah.
Right. So this monkey snapped his own picture. PETA's argument in court, in a court of law, the court actually entertained this.
Yeah.
Okay. The court, they think that the money should be equally shared between them because he used the guy's equipment, but the monkey took the picture. The court said to them that we have no precedent of an action being bought on behalf. The monkey wasn't in any danger. The man did not endanger the monkey. You're trying to sue this man for money for a monkey taking a picture off of his camera. Ridiculous. What is wrong with these people? But they seriously, that's where you get into the realm of what we're talking about here, Monty. But there's an aspect that you're not taking into consideration. Probably these guys are just mentally ill.
There is that, liberalism in the extreme, or wokeism. It's like, I mean, woke is a term that was from the civil rights movement in the 60s, where you awaken to the tyranny and, you know, all the bad stuff that's happened. But in the last 10 years, it's basically as the Karen, you know, the blonde hair women called Karen have taken it over and they've weaponized it and they've blown it way out of proportion. And so now woke is either worn as a badge or it's a derogatory term, because, like, you know, you got to get woke. I'd rather be awake, because the woke that we see is just it comes across as a mental illness, where I think they're not dealing with their own shit, be it the shadow, but they see injustice and it focuses through a lens that way, and they come across as batshit crazy. Where you have to, you know, when they're pulling down statues, I'm not a big fan of pulling down statues. Now, if there's something wrong with their history, move the statues to somewhere else, so you can still have the history about it in that sense. But they're attacking George Washington because he's a slave owner.
Yeah, but Monty, it's symbolic, kind of like flushing wedding rings down the toilet. Weren't you paying attention?
Well, yeah, but I just went to, like, that was a lot. That's a waste of money. I mean, yeah, Andrew was right. Go to the porn store. Like, you know, if you want to go get $400 for the rings and eat a lot of food and then flush that down the toilet. Like, I'm just saying. Just don't throw the ring. And as someone pointed out, they're probably just past the S bend because they hardly move. So they're still probably there.
Oh, did you just
Someone in
send,
the chat room.
did you just send somebody down the toilet?
Well, you never know. Well, if you don't ask a question,
I'm sure they're past the S bend.
Yeah, by now, yeah.
I'm sure a turd or four has come down that had scraped the bottom.
This is
this show is degrading by the minute.
Yes.
This conversation is degrading by the minute. No, but honestly, I do believe, and let's talk about the Karens for a bit. Like, really and truly, if you're a Karen, you probably had your breakfast snack, brunch snack, lunch snack, okay? Back off with the injustice talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
David, I am on slate to have 7 social justice experiences today alone. You cannot stop me from my own self-pleasure of talking to people's managers.
Can I just quickly apologize to people called Karen? Because I'm sure it's just one Karen that started this whole thing, but now everyone with that name has been associated.
Yeah, can you imagine on those dating apps, if somebody, hi, my name is Karen.
And you have short blonde. Exactly.
Yes, and you have short, the pixie cut. They call it the pixie cut, right?
Can I be your manager, Karen?
Exactly. Can I be your manager, Karen?
Right.
Would you like to see me?
Yeah, there was actually on those dating apps, there was actually something trending, right? If COVID doesn't take you out, I would like to.
Ha 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 ha.
Nice. Well, now you mean for a date? Because I'm still apparently Jeff Bezos, the gig from Amazon, Elon Musk is trying to get into space, and Bezos is trying to as well. And of course, the SJWs and all the nut jobs, their response is, we're hoping for Challenger 2 disaster. So that's the response. I'm going into space. Well, we hope you stay there. And it's all this sort of hate. It's just really
why.
So we are beginning the billionaires go to space part of our history.
Yeah. Well, he's rich and he's selfish,
but in reality, this is the first public billionaires going into space that we are going to have as a collective. Think of all those movies where we saw billionaires in space.
Listen to me. I never hated on anybody because they were rich. You don't know what the F they had to go through to get where they're going. You don't know the sleepless nights that these people had to go through. Okay? You don't know. Okay?
Well, look at the band Muse. They've worked to attain everything. They wrote really good songs. They toured their asses off and they worked to get to that. And so we have to take 80% of their profits. Why? They earned that. Being creative as well. It's like, any time you bring up the financial stuff, people forget about the owners of the sandbox, which is like the Federal Reserve.
I know what happens. There was this rapper, what is his name? Oh God, I forgot it. He basically bought a $24 million diamond. You've heard God.
I know what you're talking about.
Little Uzi Vert, right. And he wants the diamond encrusted in his skull. Dumb. As dumb. That's just dumb.
Right? Somebody's gonna tear that shit out in a mugging.
All right. Yeah. Or just take the whole head, right?
Yeah.
Right. Shit. If I ran up on, I would mug him for that $24 million diamond. Listen to me. So he wants the diamond encrusted in his forehead. So he's getting surgery to get this diamond put. And he spent $24 million on this. Was it a pink diamond? It was a pink diamond, right? Dumb. So that's why people are hating, because people are thinking that $24 million could have gone to anybody else. But what I'm saying to you is you cannot just generically hate anybody who's rich. You don't know what these people had to go through to get there where they're going. The same way you are working your ass off on a 9-to-5 job. This is just pure hating. It's just hating.
No, David, what I was referring is not hating on the billionaires. We've come to a time in history where it's the billionaires who are flying into space, which can represent a whole new brand of opportunities that government may not be ready for.
Yeah.
The way that
Billionaires in space is a good thing for everyone in the long term.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, they've got the money for it, and but yeah, we're under bad management.
Soon, those billionaires are going to need maids, laundry people, cooks, security, and all the other infrastructure that makes their lives perfect.
Yeah, and they've got them. Yeah, it's just interesting where in lockdowns, like the government's sort of digging their own hole even faster now, where they close down the economy except for certain things, and the billionaires are making bank because they're allowed the only one to be open, and I can see people sort of being frustrated by that, but it's not the billionaires' fault because they're allowed to actually be open. But still, now this slogans movements now of like buy local and helping out the mum and pop shops around locally as well, where like farmers markets and everything else like that, because they realize you need a community. You just don't want one store like Walmart to have everything for the entire town. Local butchers or a bakery and all that type of stuff.
I actually believe in supporting the mom and pop shops because a lot of these people are very good people and so on. Having said that, if the mom and pop shops run out of toilet paper, where is your ass going to be? Walmart, right?
Yeah. Well, it comes down to balance as well. So
your ass will be wherever the toilet paper is.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And here's what I think with regard to all those little movements and the cancel culture. Probably the best thing is to give them exactly what they want, right? So Walmart will shut its doors. They will go to the mom and pop shops. They will be anti-corporate. And I understand why people are anti-corporate because there are some notorious corporate entities out there. That does not mean it's across the board. And sometimes you need the thing that you despise. Okay? Sometimes you need it because, let's face it, if it wasn't for Walmart, a lot of us would not have toilet paper during this pandemic. Come on, right?
Yeah.
So
it's no living on Earth. It's if it was heaven, you wouldn't be on Earth. You'd be somewhere else. So it comes down to balance.
It does, and common sense, and just having a little bit of self-control and not acting like you're mentally ill every time somebody says something that inverted commas triggers you. I don't even know what that word means. What does trigger mean? What does that mean? That's something
uncontrolled emotional releases, the accidental avalanche on purpose.
Yeah, I basically point out that in the TV show Bewitched, the first Darren was better than the second Darren, and you like the second Darren, and because certain people haven't got the training not to analyze and realize, oh, it's an opinion, they just go into war mode, and that's because they're triggered and they have microaggressions and all this flowery shit. It's basically that people have a mental illness. It's like, well, you disagree with me. Clearly, I must kill you.
What? What the hell is that?
No, I'm not agreeing with it. Like, really, it's like I just use the example of the two. Both Darrens.
I understand you, Monty, but I don't understand why it is that if you say something that I disagree with, that I have to go full on mental.
Well, I feel attacked. You have a different opinion. I feel attacked. Why don't you think about me?
Yeah, it's called life.
Okay.
People are going to disagree with you. People are going to disagree with you.
Unfortunately, the vast majority of the blue checks, blue-haired crazy people, because most of them are blue checks, blue-haired, is they've been on medications for long periods of time, and you don't know when they're off their medication. They're the culture that never was faced themselves. They're the aspects that is using allopathic medicine to avoid their whatever spiritual validating truths that they have.
Well, it upsets me, and this is going to stick with me for a very long time, that it has permeated itself in the spiritual community, whereby if I see somebody doing some stupid shit, you see a yoga teacher that is doing some sort of aberrant form, right, and trying to harming people, really. You have somebody who's a man-hating woman who's a sex therapist for couples, right? And I'm looking at this kind of paradigm, and I'm like, You should be able to call bullshit when you see bullshit, whether it upsets you, or whether it upsets whoever it upsets or not. Seriously, especially in the esoteric communities where we are supposed to be the ones that are trying to learn stuff. We're supposed to learn.
So David, you met this person in a coaches convention.
Yep.
And that one coach said to them, you're a man hater, except you teach, couple sexuality. What's wrong there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're all afraid. They're all afraid.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something to the two of you. There's a reason why I'm on the show with y'all. Really. There is. Right? A lot of people say to me, David, this Andrew guy, I don't know about him. And I'm like, he's the only one with balls left. He's the only one with balls left. I'm going to say it loud like this. Big ones. You got to be able to say the shit that it calls shit out as it is. A lot of people, you see, when you don't call shit out externally, you don't call it out internally. Okay?
That's right.
You can't see your own bullshit and say, yo, I believe in a lot of shit, don't I? Okay? And a lot of people go through this sort of thing where, oh, I'm being compassionate to myself. Oh, I see. You mean you're accepting bullshit from yourself?
Yeah.
Check yourself before you open your mouth. Sit down, get yourself a cup of tea, right? And sit down. And the only thing that should be on your mind is, gee, I wonder how much shit is in my head right now.
Yeah. It's the fun part going through that as well. Yeah. Fact check yourself before you fact wreck yourself.
Yes. Right? Because you're going to run up on people that actually can argue with you. And your only defense is going to be, I feel offended, I feel triggered. Nobody give a shit if you're triggered.
Yes, as your balls shrink into infinitesimally small size.
What I find interesting, like a loose example, because I don't want to go into details, but it's like, oh, you learnt that on YouTube. Well, where should I get my information? The mainstream media. Yeah, okay, just wait a minute. Like, obviously, there's other ways, but I find it fascinating people that watch mainstream media have a go at people that are watching stuff on YouTube, because there's a slight irony because the mainstream's on YouTube. It's like, Dr. Google. Well, half the doctors go to Google when you're in the actual fucking office. It's like, oh, let's just check this. And also, Harvard's on there, Yale, because they're on YouTube, I'm supposed to ignore them. Now, also, I understand, Andrew points out you get a degree in YouTubeness. It's like, it's a starting point. It's not an end point. You read a book, where's the book? An actual physical book. And find 3 different points of references, and I'll rant over.
Yeah, that would require people to. That's what I said at the beginning of the show. You gotta read. And not. Yeah, this is the guy.
How long before somebody rips that out of his head?
For $24 million, I would fix the rest of his head.
Yes, can you imagine?
Exactly.
But he's a rapper, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, them rappers, there's some crazy guys. They started the whole low pants, sagging pants thing, showing off your underwear. But do you know how many of their brothers got caught by police because their pants went around their ankles?
Yeah, pull your pants up.
They started an entire culture of people in jail because of just that. Because they didn't learn to wear their pants straight.
Yeah, fashion.
Yeah,
fashion. No, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to say about this whole cancel culture and this fake it to make it crowd. I think things have become very poisoned in our discourse. I think people cannot argue anymore. I don't know whether they lack the tools for argument, or they're just afraid of being shown as wrong.
All of the above.
Well, yeah, they do argue, but they don't actually argue in a correct way where you come to a resolution or an understanding, and even disagree. Remember when you could actually have an argument? Well, I disagree. All right, let's move on. But now people just fight to the nth, and they start a GoFundMe page and everything else like that. Where I'm telling you, bananas are better than oranges.
Until you have banana, orange, mango mix.
Yeah, and then you have pears. But this is just the level. I mean, we're being flippant, but that's what we do. This is the level of ridiculousness of it, where like the latest thing in the Marvel universe is Loki came out, and everyone thinks it's destroyed the story. All the YouTube reviewers and blah blah blah. It's true, but if you say no, I enjoyed it, you get piled on because your opinion's different, and that's the level we're at, where you can't actually say, well, I actually like a light green. No, you're only allowed blue or red, but no, a light green and purple's okay. If you have this is the level, the base level. If you have a different opinion, people think you're attacking them and they're wrong. And all it is, it's just an inversion of their own insecurities.
Yes, it is mental illness.
Yeah.
The patients are running the asylum now.
Mm-hmm.
And
like as you said at the start of the show, the snowflakes, when the 2016 election in the United States, in universities, they postponed or they delayed exams, and they actually had counseling sessions for people because of the winner. It's like you're adults and you can't handle the fact that someone won an election. It's like, oh my God, like I can't actually do this exam today because like something happened that I have no control over. And it's not fair.
It's a sign of the times, Monty. I'm going to tell you something about civilization. It repeats itself over and over again. So the Roman Empire was founded by some really tough bitches, okay?
Yes.
Right? And then
Nine heels, yo.
they got really soft after a while. They sent their legionnaires to conquer the world and so on. But inside Rome itself, guess what happened? People were having orgies and becoming very, very soft, right?
Yeah.
Snowflakey, right? Look at what happened to them, okay?
Yeah.
And the same thing keeps repeating itself over and over again. People get into this comfort curve where they think they have so many choices and they shouldn't be infringed upon. And all of a sudden, they feel like even words are hurting them. Okay?
Yeah.
Words can hurt, no problem, depending on who they're coming from. You really think I care what Joe Blow down the street has to say about me? You gotta have a tougher skin than that. But to have a tougher skin means that you are, what is the word that was used recently? You have hardened yourself to reality. So you have some healers saying that your nervous system is too layered. Okay? No, you've hardened yourself because experience teaches you how to absorb certain kinds of punishment, such as, I disagree with you. You're going to bring up a culture of people who can't accept that somebody disagrees with them. That is a bunch of shit. You're going to have a situation where somebody's going to come, a foreign culture will come and say, you know what? I disagree with you, and everything shit falls apart. Okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I like the Mark Twain quote. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. And because it's not 100%, but there seems to be a lifespan of civilization of about 250 years. Starts out strong, does well, and then the rot sets in, and it starts just basically spiraling out of control. And that's sort of what we're seeing with the United States at the moment.
I need to give you a personal story of mine. I worked in this organization. The head of this organization, we had a budget. I kept my budget very low, okay, on my department. The head of this organization, seeing that my budget was always kept very low and hers was kept very high, what she did was basically hire an assistant for me, okay? I said I didn't need an assistant, I'm good. But she had this guy who came out of business school, 24 years old, bachelor's of business administration. He comes and works for me, a 24-year-old man, and he sends an email to one of the sponsors of the organization with emoticons in it. You know, the little smiley faces? This is a business email. And so I had to call him into my office. And I told them, well, due to the fact that we're a professional organization, it doesn't really make sense to send emoticons and such like. It was his second or third day on the job. And guess what happened next? Come on, make a guess.
He had a meltdown.
Meltdown, he put a complaint into the higher ups because of what you said.
No, I was the higher up, so he couldn't put the complaint in. So he basically bawled his eyes out in front of me. So I'm sitting there, I wasn't expecting it, right? I'm like, I don't know what to do. Should I hug him? Should I slap him? I don't know. I don't know what to do here, right?
Or both. Should I slap him and then hug him?
Right? I don't know what to do here. And it wasn't a little tear down the eye. It was full hoo. Okay? And then I'm like, you need some time? You need some time? That was my way of saying get out of my office, right? But anyway, no, you need some time. All right. So at the time I was a little bit different then. And so he goes into the bathroom and he cries for an hour. Oh my God, Andrew. Right? Did I tell you about this one, Andrew?
I know this story. Yes, I do.
Right, and he cries for an hour, and the head of the organization comes and says, David, these kids are not the same like we were. You know, you got to be a little bit more gentle with them. Gentle. He said the business, like sometimes you just shake your head. And what is going on in the esoteric community is something akin to this, where people have become like, don't disagree with me, right? I believe that Isis is my mother and I'm an incarnation of Isis. And I'm going to say, no, probably you just a janitor that got incarnated and you're now working in a bank. You made a step up. Probably your past life wasn't a king or a queen. Maybe it wasn't that, right? But you can't say certain things because it makes people feel that they are less than and they lose their shit.
Yeah. How many, both of you? How many Cleopatras have you met in your life? I'm the reincarnation of Cleopatra. So is those 6 people.
100 Cleopatras.
How many Cleopatras are in the chat room right now? 500
ISIS bitches. Mary Magdalene. It's a lot of Mary Magdalenes. A lot of Napoleons.
How many?
A lot of kings of Europe.
How many Cleopatras are in the audience right now?
I like that. I shared a meme once that was Jimmy's. Oh, fair enough. Hello. A meme saying that Krishna, Buddha, Christ, and about 3 other masters turn up, so they can just say to everyone, "I fucking didn't say that."
Exactly. I didn't say that.
Yeah. And how many Jesus Christ are? I mean, they probably tap into the Christ consciousness, or they have a nanosecond blip into the consciousness, and because of their conditioning, in a way, they instantly think they're Jesus, and it's like, no, you aren't Jesus. You're probably in the same club as Jesus for a nanosecond, but I'm Jesus Christ. Really, Billy? Okay.
Everybody's an incarnation of some priestess or some queen or whatever. Nobody wants to be the incarnation of Joey, the janitor from.
Nobody ever wants to be the goddess of colonics.
Hi, Gija.
Well, I'm actually I'm an incarnation from Rome. The god Apollo. I was his janitor. So I'm not actually. I hung around with these people.
Because they think that greater lessons are to be learned in the realm of royalty. But probably Joey the janitor learned a hell of a lot more than you could possibly imagine.
And probably living the perfect life as well. I've met people where in today's society, they're low level and they've got a crap job, but they are the happiest people because their life the role in this life now is just to have a job that pays the bills, have a loving family, and they can go boating on Saturday if they want to. You know what I mean? You don't have to be Elon Musk I don't know if anyone wants to be Elon Musk, but you get my point. Where it's your life right now is the life that you chose for a reason. Where you could have been kings for 100,000 years in the past, but I'm going to have a rest. I'm just going to bake bread and feed people.
Yes, you could have been a king in the past life and said, you know what, this is too much responsibility. I'm gonna line with the boys on the street corner. I'm just gonna do that instead, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna run a restaurant and I'm gonna sing occasionally in Italian, and they're fulfilling their life's dream.
Here's a question for you, Andrew. People who remember their past lives as kings or queens, please do not import the shit from your past life into this life if you have the Akashic Records. All right, please. Live the life you are given here.
I try saying this all the time, and yet people they're so instant gratification, curiosity, shiny. Who was I in the past? And oftentimes I got to tell them you're halfway nobody, okay? Or you've done everything, you've done it all, and you're just repeating it now. Or the ones they simply say, until you get really self-healing, self-nurturing, self-mastery done, what's the point of saying galactic history to you? Because you're not ready to own that responsibility. And the vast majority of the lifetimes isn't about being the prince, the king, or the queen, or the pauper. It's what you learn spiritually.
And in this moment of now, like the epoch that we're in now, it's about this life. Your conscious, your view of consciousness. Like I could tap into all the other stuff, but it's just like going to see a movie. It's like, I can remember things and lessons, but it's all about being spiritual in a physical realm right now. As was mentioned earlier, I think Jesse said it, where I'm here to break contracts and break cycles. And gee, that's fun when you break family lineage stuff. Like part of my family are farmers. I can't grow shit. I'm more of a comedian now. I hope there's still farmers where you can be self-sufficient, but being self-sufficient is I can live on a property and I go down to the farmers and we help each other out. We're a collective.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, guys, we've reached the end of the show. David, why don't you give a way for people to get a hold of you?
Hi. I just want to do a quick plug right away, guys. We are putting together Universal Citizen TV. For those of you who don't know what that is, we're going to have a bunch of presenters. We had a couple of them on the show today, actually, and we're going to be streaming live to Facebook. So if you guys haven't joined the Universal Citizen Media Facebook page, please join that. For the entrepreneurs, we have the Survive and Thrive group for you guys. Please join that as well. We're going to be streaming to these pages and a lot of other pages all over the internet, and a lot of different websites as well, direct. So if you want to see really inspired content, not just the boring, mundane shit that you see every day on television, TV with some sort of depth, we have put it together and we are going to be broadcasting live, and we're going to have shows like this one on UCM. So if you guys want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me at info@arsessentia.org, ARSESSENTIA.org. If you guys want to contribute any content to Universal Citizen TV, you could also get a hold of me as well. All right, so that's me.
All right, Monty, give a way for people to get a hold of you.
Okay, Wafer Thin Entertainment on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, as well as Anchor FM, which is connected to Spotify and Apple. On Twitter, if you want to go into that battlefield, at Real Monty Dean. On Instagram, Monty.Dean, where I meme up a storm. I'm also on Facebook as Monty Dean. I guest in the microcosm on Friday nights for an hour. I think it's like 10 p.m. Eastern time, as well as a certain comedy show which will be on air in about 22 hours.
That is tomorrow. We will be back for our bi-monthly. Oh, thank you, Robert.
Sorry about that.
We can say anything we want now.
We can say anything we want now. It's not going to YouTube anymore. Fuck them. Anyways, We will be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time for our comedy show. Make sure to take the stick out of your ass ahead of time. All right, Robert, take us away.
Each different level of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Hello, let's create, let's co-create, and let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.